I heard there was this podcast, yo, about something funny like wrestling and so. And you really care about wrestling, don't you? There are drop kicks and leases all over the board, and then something called a wrestling hold. It's a super duper fun podcast about wrestling. That wrestling show. That wrestling show. That wrestling show. That wrestling show. Well, Fro and Bill and maybe a guest or two is here to hold your hand and guide you through a podcast about wrestling. We have a lot of extreme fun, and that's without the gun, because I needed something to rhyme fun with. That wrestling show, that wrestling show, that wrestling show, that wrestling show. Well, sit your behinds gently down and listen to our podcast sound, and try to guess this week's pro question. You win a lot of cool things, and also help Bill with his bills. That's a super duper fun competition. That wrestling show. 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 That wrestling show.
Everybody, and welcome to a very early, depending on when you're listening to this, episode of That Wrestling Show. Happy belated New Year to everyone.
Happy New Year, everybody.
Fro and I just got finished watching Wrestle Kingdom 13.
I mean, we are hot off Wrestle Kingdom 13. We literally closed the stream 2 seconds ago.
Yeah, we did. We're going to get into that show just a little bit. This week is such a busy, actually the last couple weeks, since we stopped, to rest up from the holidays. It's just been really, really busy. I think we should just go into some of the smaller news before we get into the big topics to discuss. And the first thing that I want to bring up, and this announcement came on New Year's Eve, and it's not the one that everyone is talking about. It's something completely different. And it's actually a pretty cool announcement. one of the top independent promotions here in the United States, Beyond Wrestling, they are going to start a weekly live streaming series, and it starts on April the 3rd, and it's going to be a new, fresh episode every week called Uncharted Territory. So this will be held at the Electric Haze in Worcester, Massachusetts. And it's just going to be a live episode each and every week on independentwrestling.tv, formerly powerbomb.tv.
Yeah, this is good news. I heard about this. I was thinking that we finally get WWE contender. That's definitely something we need and have wanted for very, very long. So I mean, this is really good news.
It is. It's really cool. It's something different. And I think for those who haven't watched Beyond Wrestling in the past, this is a very good opportunity to check them out, because they're going to be doing these live shows every week, and basically you get a chance to see some of the top independent wrestlers in the United States, and some from, throughout the world, that are going to make a big name. They really are. So, the show is called, like I said, Uncharted Territory, and the first episode is on Wednesday, April the 3rd, and it's going to be live every week after that.
Definitely.
So, that's some pretty cool news right there.
Mm-hmm.
I think it would be wrong of us not to mention, before going any further, the passing of Mean Gene Okerlund earlier this week. He was 76 years old. I didn't realize he was that age. I could tell you, Fro, because I, been a fan since I was a kid, he was one of the voices of wrestling from when I was a little guy. And just the way he presented himself was so different. He was, to me, he's the greatest reporter in the, interviewer of all time in wrestling. And he made such an impact on everyone, from the fans to the wrestlers. He just had that way about him.
It's kind of strange. I was talking a little to Luke about this the other day, and I said it's one of those first wrestling deaths that really got me. Mm-hmm. Mean Gene for me was one of the reasons why I went back in history and watched his interview with Andre the Giant, for example.
Mm-hmm.
A classic interview where you see Andre having his hand on his head, looking like he's squishing a grape. And for me, he was kind of the connection to the old WWE for me.
Mm-hmm.
So when I heard this news, I really got devastated and crushed. It felt like, it was just so surreal that what for me is one of the voices of WWE is gone now.
And to think that he worked for 3 of the biggest organizations ever, AWA, WWE, WCW. He was everywhere, and everyone knew him. I could tell you one of my favorite bits or skits, depending on what you want to call it. If you guys can find the video, go check it out. Back in the day, there used to be a video series, The Best of the WWF, which you guys have heard me talk about when I've done Coliseum Corner in the past.
Mm.
Well, there's a particular one, volume 17, I want to say is the volume. And the whole plot of the video, besides showing the matches, is Mean Gene going to people like, "Hey, have you heard of me? I'm Gene Okerlund." And people are like, No, I can't say I have. So this is like this through the whole videotape. And then at the end, he's like, "Well, this is the end of the video, can't believe no one knows me." And then there's one little kid who's like, "I know you!"
Yeah.
Oh, it's pretty funny. But no, he was a stand-up guy,
Yeah.
So he did so much good for wrestling.
Yeah.
That he will definitely be missed by everybody who ever watched him or got interviewed by him. Died of natural causes, so it wasn't anything scandalous or anything terrible. He just died of natural causes. 76 years old was how old he was, and he lived a heck of a life.
Oh yeah.
Worked with every big name that you could think of the last 30 to 40 years.
Mm-hmm.
But he will truly be missed by everybody.
Mm-hmm.
No one will ever replace Mean Gene Okerlund.
No. My condolences to his family.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I don't think we should keep everybody holding back anymore. I think we should just get into what we just saw. Wrestle Kingdom 13. Man, what a
pay-per-view.
What a freaking show.
Yeah. Like me and Bill discussed, this is better than 12
oh God, yeah.
By a long shot. Not saying 12 was bad.
No, last year's was a good show. This show just blew it out of the water. It really, really did. So what we're going to do is we're going to talk about this first match, and then we're going to get into what they announced before the main show began. Because there were some big announcements that they made for the upcoming year that should be brought up. So, now the kickoff match, the last several years, has been a Royal Rumble-like match. Mm-hmm. And this year it changed to a gauntlet match to determine the number one contender for the never open-weight 6-man tag team titles. So it was 5 teams, and we're just going to briefly go through each part, but we should mention them. So the opening segment, the first fall, was members of the Elite, Hangman Page, Marty Scurll, and Yujiro Takahashi against David Finlay, Jeff Cobb, and Yuji Nagata.
Yeah, this was really, it was a good opening. The only thing that it felt a little all over the place. I I didn't really enjoy it in that way.
Mm-hmm.
It's not bad. It's not a bad match by any means.
Right.
But I didn't get involved with it just because it felt strangely paced.
Yeah.
And the wrestling was on par, especially with the rest of the card. So this just got my lowest score for the evening with a C minus.
All right. So the first fall, Nagata, Finley, and Cobb got the victory over the Elite. So they would go on. And the next team that would come out would be Beretta, Chuck Taylor, and Hiroki Goto. And this was and we're just going by fall, and then I'll put in my thoughts on the whole match. This was a very good fall. This second fall, I thought it was really well done. Just a lot of good action. And Finley, something that you pointed out, would get the fall in this one. So he was involved in the first two falls of the match. He got the pin in the first two falls. So then the next team that came out was Minoru Suzuki, Davey Boy Smith Jr., and Lance Archer, and they just basically beat up what was left of Nagata, Finley, and Cobb, because this was their third match in a row, and Finley ended up getting pinned, so he was involved in the first three falls, which is a little funny, because he got the pin in the first two, and then he got pinned in the third one.
Mm.
And then the final team was Ryosuke Taguchi, Toji Makabe, and Toru Yano. This was just a bit of a brawl. Some shenanigans happened, and then Yano got a low blow in on Davey Boy, and they ended up getting the pin and the victory. So Taguchi, Makabe, and Yano are number one contenders for that six-man tag team title. I gave it a C+. As a whole, I gave it a C+. So after the match, they were doing a thing where they were talking about everything that happened in 2018, and a lot of things did happen. So they, brought up a lot of the different events that are going to take place over the next calendar year. Different events here and there. The Madison Square Garden show in New York. They mentioned the finals of the Best of the Super Juniors. They brought up the G1. They brought up a show that's going to take place in England at the end of August. They're going to have a show this summer in Dallas. But the big news was the very last announcement. And this was very interesting, because next year, there's not going to be one show at the Tokyo Dome. There's going to be two shows.
Yeah, they shocked.
Yeah,
they shocked us with this. Are you happy that they split it in half?
Well, I don't know, and the only reason I say that is because it's a whole year away. And I'm not sure what to expect. So next year's Wrestle Kingdom will be January 4th and the 5th at the Tokyo Dome.
Here's my question. Will it be longer because it's 2 days? Will it be more matches because it's 2 days?
We're going to get more matches.
Yeah.
We're definitely getting more matches, I would think. It's just because, when I saw it, I was like, oh, this is really cool. We're getting this. But part of me was thinking, okay, they might want to make this or make it seem like the biggest show of all time. the way, because it was the last thing that was announced, and it is a big deal because if you've seen the last couple years, people were talking about, oh, they should split WrestleMania into 2 separate days and all of that, and Wrestle Kingdom is taking this opportunity of, okay, you know what? Next year, we're going to take our biggest show of the year, and we're going to make it 2 days. And we're going to, and we don't even know what the card's going to be. We don't even know who's going to be involved in it. All we know is it's going to be big. It is just going to be big. So we'll just.
I'm just curious and hope they don't fuck it up, because for me this was what I would call a perfect event.
Mm-hmm.
And therefore I'm like, we said it when we were done watching this, like, okay, I got up at 8, it was done at 1 o'clock, means that it was 5 hours. It felt like maybe 2.
Yeah, like I got up at about 1:20 this morning.
Right.
1:20, 1:30 in the morning. Had my breakfast, got down here by about a little bit before 2. We're doing this show a little bit after 7 in the morning here on the East Coast.
Mm.
And it did not feel like a 5-hour show. Not one bit. But we'll talk about that when we get to the end. So, our opening match of the pay-per-view, the never open weight title, Kota Ibushi defending against Will Ospreay.
What a good opening match.
Oh, what a match.
Like, there's a reason why Will Ospreay is one of my favorite wrestlers.
Because I thought, okay, we're probably going to see a lot of high flying, and we didn't really, if you think about it.
No, not really.
Which is a good thing, because, we don't really need all the high flying. And this was a really good match. Really enjoyed it. It got physical at times. They told a really good story, I thought. Ibushi is busted open from the nose at one point. And it was an accidental bleeding. And these guys are slapping each other. They're hitting each other. They're, kicking each other. At one point, Ibushi hits, a Kinshasa or Bamaye, depending on what you want to call it, on the Ospreay. And Ospreay looked like he was just out of it. And then we get to the end of the match where Ospreay hits this roaring elbow square to the back of the head of Kota Ibushi, and it knocked him out. Like, it was just a solid shot with the back of the, to the back of the head, and Ospreay was able to hit his finishing move, and Ospreay is the new never open weight champion.
Mm-hmm.
I enjoyed this match. I gave it an A-.
I gave it an A- as well.
Just a really good match.
Mm-hmm.
Next match was the 3-way for the IWGP Junior Tag Titles. The champions Yoshinobu Kanemaru and El Desperado facing the challengers of Sho and Yo, Roppongi 3K, along with Shingo Takagi and Bushi.
Again, it's like, I don't know what it is when there's more than 2 teams in the ring. I like this match, don't get me wrong. But
this was a good match.
But it is somehow hard to follow. I was stoked for this match. I gave this a B+.
They did a good job for having to go after such a good opening match. And they didn't really get a lot of time for this match, but it was a good match. Everyone looked good. I think Shingo came out the best out of everyone in the match. I thought he looked the best in this match. But no, it was a good, quick match. Shingo and Bushi win the titles. I gave it a B. It's a strong B.
Mm-hmm.
So then, after that, we had another title match. This was for the Rev Pro Wrestling British Heavyweight title. Tomohiro Ishii defending against Zack Sabre Jr. And again, this was another good match.
Yeah. Welcome to us saying, oh, this was a good match. Oh, this was a good match. Oh, this was a good match. Yeah.
This just, like we talked about a few weeks ago, the match that Sabre had with Jonathan Gresham at Final Battle, and how that match was amazing. This match wasn't as good as that one, but it was still a good match. And I think what made it interesting was how here's, Sabre, who's 180 plus pounds, all skinny, and then you got Ishii, who's a solid 250, 260, and these guys are just going at each other.
Right.
So it was a very interesting contrast to styles, but it was a good match. And Sabre won with the octopus submission hold. A good way to win the title. A good way to win the title. I gave this a B.
Yeah. I gave this. Yeah, I think I said a B minus, right? Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, you did. Then we had our other three-way match for the IWGP Heavyweight Tag Titles. Tama Tonga and Tonga Loa defending against the Young Bucks and Evil and Sonata. Oh, gosh, this was the better of the three-way matches, I thought. I enjoyed this one a little bit more than the junior match. Not saying that the junior match was bad, but this was the more enjoyable of the two for me.
Oh, definitely. I totally agree.
And it was done really good. I liked how Bad Luck Fale and Jado, who were with the Tongan team, they tried to get involved, but they got caught in this situation. And in the end, Sonata hits Evil and Sonata, they hit the Magic Killer and then the Moonsault, and Evil and Sonata win back the tag team titles. What grade did you give this one?
I gave this A minus.
I gave this a B plus.
Oh. I really enjoyed this match. I just thought it was amazing.
Then we had the IWGP United States title, Cody defending against Juice Robinson. This was my least favorite match.
Yep. This was sadly not very well.
This could have been better.
Yes.
They tried, but it really didn't go much, and Brandy got kicked out during the match. I don't know. They just seem to have been a little bit rushed on time, and it just didn't really click for me.
Right.
Juice got the win after he hit Pulp Friction. I gave it a C plus, but it's a low C plus.
Yeah, I gave this a C.
Yeah. And then Then this is where the show changes. Because from
happy.
Here
from now on there will be no lower score than a B+.
On Fro's side. Here on I can't tell you guys what it's going to be on my side. So So next up is the IWGP Junior Heavyweight title match. Taiji Ishimori challenging Kushida. Now, Kushida had a really cool entrance because there was a little kid on the stage, and he had a Kushida mask, and then it was a big head. Like the mask was big.
It looked really cool, though.
Yeah, and they had Doc Brown. I think it was Taguchi who was Doc Brown in that role. And then the real Kushida came out, which was a really cool entrance. Oh, this was a great match. Oh, if they had had a little bit more time, I think they would have gotten a higher grade. But I really enjoyed this match. This was just a solid wrestling match. All the way around, from beginning to end. Ishimori was able to hit the double knees and then hit the Bloody Cross, his finishing move. And Ishimori is the new junior heavyweight champion. I gave
sorry.
I was going to say, I gave this an A-.
Yeah, I gave this A- as well. Yeah, no, this was just amazing. It's just like, whew.
Like I said, if this match had gotten a little bit more time, I think it would have gotten a higher grade. So, if you haven't figured out at this point in time, we've had so far, how many? 6 title matches. And we've had 6 title changes.
I wonder if that trend will be going on.
I don't know. But we're going to take a break from title matches because our next match is a grudge match. As it is Jay White against Kazuchika Okada. This was another good match.
Like I said, we are not going to be able to say anything bad.
No.
There's not a bad match.
From this point to the end, there's not one bad match. This is all really good action. This one, I thought, told a good story. Because Okada comes out, and he's the Rainmaker. You know, back to the blonde hair. He's got the short tights. Excuse me. And it's a 2-on-1 in a way, but Gato doesn't really get involved in the match that much. And these guys are just going move for move, you know, especially towards the last 4 minutes of the match. And, you know, it's like Okada's going to try to hit the Rainmaker. He can't really do it. White tries to hit the Blade Runner, and he can't quite do that. And it's just a lot of near falls. And then you get to the end, because the end is so great. It's just counter after counter after counter after counter. And it's like, you know, what you're waiting to see what's going to happen. And then Jay White out of nowhere hits the Blade Runner. And he gets the 3 count. Jay White beats Okada clean in the ring. Which I really liked.
Yeah, no, this was amazing. This was my last B+.
I gave this an A-. This was just another good match. Those two, I'd like to see those two face each other again, one-on-one. Hopefully, real soon we'll get that match. Hopefully. Then we go to the IWGP Intercontinental title match. Chris Jericho defending against Tetsuya Naito. The match was made the day before to a no disqualification match. And even if there wasn't that stipulation, I think it would have been a good match. This was a good match.
Yeah.
It was... The beginning was... Naito attacks Jericho even before the bell rings. And they're fighting on the outside. And then when the bell rings, they're still fighting on the outside. And they're just all over the ringside area. Jericho gets an advantage for a while, then Naito gets an advantage for a while, then it goes back to Jericho. Not a lot of weapons involved, which I didn't mind. You had your kendo stick, you had a bunch of chairs, you had the belt got involved towards the end.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just really good stuff. It was just good back and forth stuff all the way around. And then Naito was able to upend Jericho towards the end and was able to hit Destino, and Naito wins the IWGP Intercontinental title.
So, how many title changes have that been?
We are now on 7 for 7.
Oh, I wonder if that trend will go on.
I gave this match an A.
I gave it an A+. I just love this. Heel Jericho, like his jacket. We need to talk 2 words about that jacket.
Oh, the spikes. Oh, that was so good.
So good. His Joker makeup, he looked menacing.
Mm-hmm.
He really looked menacing.
Yeah.
Really good.
Actually, you know what? To talk about it real quick, Evil, when he came out earlier, he had a really cool mask because he had a bunch of spikes coming out of his mask.
Mm.
It was really good. I liked his stuff. And then there's the main event.
Yeah. Goodbye, everybody. I mean, it is a little earlier to say match of the year candidate.
It is.
I know, but saying that, this is a match of the year candidate. We were joking and having fun on the call. Mm-hmm. You, me, and Grass Dragon. We were back and forward, things like that. But we were quiet.
Yeah, for like the first 10-15 minutes of this match.
Yeah.
Like, there was not
one single thing said.
Not one word.
No.
And it was the match is amazing. It is amazing. It's one of the best matches I've ever seen.
Yeah.
I'm not going to go out and say it's the greatest match of all time, which it's not, but it's a hell of a match.
Oh, I'm actually going to say that.
You are.
I think this is maybe the best match I ever seen.
It just
worked. It is. I can't praise this. I'm gobsmacked over this match.
Like, the way that match was set up, it was like, you really... How can we say this? Like, it had your attention. The whole match had your attention because it's like, okay, here's Tanahashi, who has been with New Japan for so long. He's the guy. And then you have Omega, who's been their champion and, has probably been the most over wrestler, that they've had in a long time. And it just told a fantastic story. And it was just very good. It went to the outside. There was really no cheating. It was just two guys. And it's like you said, Fro, during the match. It was two guys who were having a wrestling match at its purest. That's what it was. And yeah, we did see a table get involved, and yeah, they did stuff on the outside, but it wasn't, it wasn't anything bad. It wasn't anything, to maybe cheat the fans out.
Mm-hmm.
And the way they were selling was fantastic, and just everything about it was just fantastic. And I honestly, at one point, and I didn't say this to you guys because I didn't want to jinx it, I thought maybe this was going to go the full 60 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
I thought, wow, what a way, for this show to end with everything that has gone on, to just have this match end on a time limit draw.
Mm-hmm.
But it didn't.
I'm happy it didn't.
Yeah. The ending is Omega attempts the one-wing angel, and it's the only attempt he does the entire match. Tanahashi's able to get out with sort of like a leg drop, and then he hits the sling blade, and then he hits his third high fly flow of the match. And the third one. And that was enough to beat Omega, win the title for the 8th time. There's nothing I can say, except go watch this match. Watch this match.
And this doesn't get the A+ for me. It gets the A+++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++
I gave it 3 A+. I probably could have done. I could have done more, but you know, it would just be killing the grade system. But
yeah, no, this is proving that A+ matches is not good enough. This is 7 out of 5 stars.
But you know,
at least. But it is saying something. Like, I love wrestling,
right?
And I love everything that it stands for and everything like that. When you get a match like this that gets you so gobsmacked, it's just appreciate it. Just like get it in, take it to you. Do yourself a huge favor and watch this match. If you should watch the whole pay-per-view, yes. But if there's one match you need to see, it is this. It's wrestling delicious.
It's, yeah, I mean, you can't get any better than that match. That match was...
And maybe I haven't seen as much wrestling matches as you, and that's why I call it the best match I've seen. But for me, this it beats it beats a lot of other matches I've seen, and classic matches. So,
and you know, the thing is with this show, and this was something you and I said, and I think we may have said it a moment or two ago, how quick the show went. Because There was not one moment on that whole show, not one moment where the show dragged. It just was boom, 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 boom. Just great action from beginning to end. And you could tell. You could really tell.
Mm-hmm.
And in the end, you and I, we both agreed that this show was better than last year's Wrestle Kingdom. And we could be talking about the show of the year already. And it's only the 4th day of the year. But then, of course, there's going to be next year when it's 2 days.
Yeah, I just hope they don't fuck it up.
Well,
like Grass said, it will be strange watching the pay-per-view next year, thinking they would top what they did.
Mm-hmm. And the thing is, it's 2 days long, and it's so far away. I don't know how they'd be able to mess it up. I really don't know. So, let's talk about sort of staying within New Japan. The other announcement that was made on New Year's Eve night, which is the debut, or the startup, I guess we could say, of All Elite Wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
And this was pretty much a foregone conclusion, basically. I mean, you sort of knew this was going to happen to a degree. If you hadn't, unless you hadn't been keeping up with the news.
Right.
So it starts with the video that they put out on their show, Being the Elite, that we're going to get a second All-In show.
Mm-hmm.
More than likely, it's going to be called Double or Nothing.
Mm-hmm.
And then we get the thing of All Elite Wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
And we had talked about this a while back, not too long ago, of how, they had trademarked stuff, and the owner of the Jacksonville Jaguars football team was behind this. And it seems like ever since that announcement, each day there's been some news, more and more, about the promotion. Like, for example, obviously the first 5 people that got signed to the promotion were Cody, Brandy, the Bucks, and Hangman Page. Because it's pretty much their idea. It's their brainchild. Then we found out about the different positions they would have. Cody's going to be the executive vice president. The Bucks are going to be in charge of booking. Brandy's the chief brand officer. So, they're getting different positions there.
Mm-hmm.
Then, their first how can I put this? Non-elite member that got signed to a contract was announced. And it's Britt Baker, who, for those of you that don't remember, she was at the All-In show. She was in that 4-way match. And she's also the girlfriend of Adam Cole, baby.
Adam Cole, baby.
So, she got signed. Then there was talk about a TV deal. Because obviously in this day and age, even with, the streaming services and all that, TV is still a big thing. It's a big deal.
Mm-hmm.
The report that I read a day or two ago was that they are in discussions with Time Warner. And Time Warner owns TBS and TNT. So if they end up getting on one of those networks. That is freaking huge.
That would be amazing.
Considering you have WWE, who is on USA and will be on Fox in October. Ring of Honor is owned by the Sinclair Broadcasting Group, so they're going to be on, all their channels. And you have Poor Impact Wrestling, which we'll talk about in a moment or two.
I feel sad for them.
Yeah. If this startup group gets TBS or TNT, it could be either one. That's freaking huge, because TBS back in the day, that was WCW's home. That was when Ted Turner owned TBS, owned WCW, and he's like, yeah, we're going to have the wrestling on. We're going to have it on every Saturday. And that, because even I grew up on that. There's a lot of stuff that I was too young for or I missed out on. But I remember, Saturday nights, 6:05, every Saturday night on TBS. So that would be a big deal. Plus, they haven't had wrestling on that channel in like almost 20 years. So, and then the idea of another one is, okay, the talent, especially with WWE, because there are going to be contracts that are going to be coming up real soon. And it's like, now there's another option of where, okay, if I don't sign with WWE, I know I can go to All Elite Wrestling. And then today, Kenny Omega. This is where it gets very interesting. Because Fro and I, we had discussed this earlier. And this was something I read last night. Kenny Omega's contract with New Japan ends at the end of this month. So, and these were Dave Meltzer's words, not my words, what I'm about to say. Omega's got 3 very good options. He could, number 1, stay with New Japan Pro Wrestling, where he is one of their top guys and could still be a top guy there. So you have that. Option number 2, he could go to All Elite Wrestling. He could be with Cody and the Bucks. And he would have their support, basically. And then there's option 3, which is wrestle for WWE, because Omega has wanted to compete at a WrestleMania. And I would think Omega would get a buttload of money if he was to go to WWE. Now, does it mean that if he went, he'd be treated very well? Not necessarily. But it's the fact that if he goes to WWE, he's getting about a lot of money. If he goes to All Elite, he's going to be with his friends. If he stays with New Japan, he's going to remain a top guy. So, in any circumstance, Omega's in a win-win-win situation. And I know you did not like the idea of him maybe going to WWE.
No. No.
And a lot of people will not. I know Brian wouldn't. Not one bit. So that's going to be interesting to see. And then, before I got on, I was reading that there could be a meeting with the heads of New Japan, All Elite, and Ring of Honor to try to do a work agreement. And if that happens, I think that's going to be a big help. I really do. Because the Bucks and Cody and Paige, they didn't leave on bad terms with Ring of Honor. They didn't. But New Japan has this working relationship with Ring of Honor right now, and it's been really good. I don't think Ring of Honor would want to lose that working relationship.
No.
So maybe if they can find a way to where Ring of Honor and All Elite could have a working relationship with them, I think it could work out.
Do you think it has to do with money, or do you think it has to do with taking charge of your own destiny to create that kind of company in this climate? Because it's risky.
I think it's a little bit of both. Because Cody, we got to remember who Cody's dad is. You know, one of the smartest minds in the business ever, Dusty Rhodes. And Cody's taking a chance. Like when they did All In, the Bucks and Cody, they took a chance on a bet that they could sell out 10,000 seats. And they did. Now they're going to do this whole wrestling promotion. And they've got the financial support to back them up. They're smart enough. They're young enough. I think it's going to work. I'm not saying that it's going to skyrocket, overnight. It's going to take time. But once it does happen, and once they succeed, the promotion's going to be around for a while. It really is. And then,
so you don't think there's a risk involved with it?
If there is a risk, the risk is if they fail, because WWE offered these guys a lot of money and they turned it down. If they fail, WWE might not take them. And then, one other thing that I forgot to mention, and then we're going to move on. This coming Tuesday, they're going to have a rally in Jacksonville, outside of the stadium that the Jacksonville Jaguars play. Well, wouldn't you know, Fro, SmackDown's going to be in Jacksonville, Florida that night. So they're going to have this rally at 5 o'clock Eastern Time. And we might get some more details, some information. I'm not really sure. But, WWE's taking this one very seriously. And they should. They really, really should. But I know a lot of people that are excited for it and cannot wait for this promotion to start up. What a great way to start off the year,
Yeah.
We got a pay-per-view coming up this weekend.
We do. We do.
It is Homecoming, Impact Wrestling Homecoming. And 6 matches are on this card. We're going to go through each match and we're going to give our pick as to who we think will win. And we will start... Hold on, I got a burp here. Excuse me. With Eddie Edwards against Moose, Falls Count Anywhere.
Yes.
Who do you like in this one?
Moose.
I gotta go Moose on this one.
I mean, it's not really for anything, so...
No, it's not. It's just the Falls Count Anywhere match.
Yeah. It's not title or anything.
Next match, Eli Drake faces Abyss in a Monsters Ball match.
Oh, say that again, please.
Eli Drake.
Yes.
Versus
against
Abyss. Monsters Ball.
I mean, storyline-wise, Abyss has upper hand always in that kind of matches, but I think they will go with Eli Drake.
Yeah, I would think it would be Eli.
Mm.
But we could be wrong. We've been wrong.
I mean, story-wise, it's like, oh, Abyss has always something up his sleeve.
Right. All right. Then we have the Impact Tag Team titles, LAX to defend against the Lucha Brothers.
Yes. This is the first title match, isn't it?
Yeah, this is the first of 4.
I don't think it will change hand here. Because I think there will be, sadly, 2 other title matches that will change. One that I really don't want to change, and one I don't mind to change. But yeah, I'm staying with the champs here.
I think this is where we're going to have our first disagreement. I'm going to say the Lucha Brothers take this one.
I mean, they are hot.
Mm-hmm. They're on fire right now. They really are. We'll just have to wait and see. Then we have the return of the Ultimate X match. This is going to be for the vacant X Division title. So
I am so stoked for this.
So we're guaranteed a new champ in this match.
Yes.
Jake Crist, Ethan Page, Rich Swann, and Trey Miguel.
I have no clue. All I know is, 1, I'm really stoked about this match. 2, I'm really stoked about this match. And 3, guess what?
You're really stoked
I'm
about
really
this match.
stoked about this match. Yeah, no. This is hard. Want you pick first?
I'm gonna say it's Rich Swann, but I could be wrong.
Yeah. The only thing is that he won the last Impact show they had.
Mm-hmm.
Who were the 2 others again?
Jake Crist, Ethan Page, and Trey Miguel.
Sorry, I have to check that.
Okay.
Can you pause?
So, Fro's gotta...
Pause.
Oh, okay, I'm being forced to pause.
Forced to pause. That's my food coming.
Hallo, sjef. Kjør. Her på Vips.
Ja.
Da kan du vipse på min mobilnummer, da, fordi vi har et problem i terminalen.
Sender du meg en SMS?
Jeg sender SMS.
Ja, kjør.
Det er greit.
Greit, ha det bra. Food. Okay.
We can start again?
Yep.
Okay. So, yeah, I mean, I think this is up for grabs. I think anyone could take it. Then we have the Knockouts title match. Tessa Blanchard against Taya Valkyrie. Guest referee for this match, Gail Kim.
Yeah, and this is why I think there will be a title change. I don't like this. This match I'm not looking forward to. That's because one of the wrestlers that's in the ring can't really wrestle. And let me say I'm a Blanchard fan, so you can guess who I think can't wrestle.
Yeah.
But TNA are fucking hot on this girl. I don't understand what they see in her at all. Is that okay to say?
Yeah.
I don't like her wrestling style at all. And I think she's going to win because of her heel turn from the referee. It's so obvious. Like, why would she be involved with this match if it wasn't to give her the title? Like, why put her in? It's so bad. It's the only storytelling that I feel in this pay-per-view is so clearly in favor of the opponent that I don't get why they are doing it.
Right.
It's just so freaking irritating.
I think Taya is going to take the title.
Sadly.
I really do. Although, to be fair, when they met at Bound for Glory, they had a really good match against each other.
It was the worst match of the night, I think. Wasn't it?
No. There was something else. I don't remember what it was.
I seem to remember it. But the problem is that one of them can't wrestle. That's the problem. I don't see what they see in her. I don't. Do you like her?
She's okay. I mean, I want to see her, let's see how she does Sunday night.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I mean, it's the first pay-per-view in a while where I'm actually going to see it live.
And then we have the main event of the pay-per-view for the world title, Johnny Impact to defend against Brian Cage.
How are you looking forward to this match? This is going to be the match of the night, I think, if it isn't the main event.
Well, it is the main event.
Yeah, if it isn't the main event.
Oh, if it isn't.
Yeah. Title change. It's in the air. It will surprise me.
I think Johnny's going to keep the title.
Really?
Yeah. I really do, because he just won the title at Bound for Glory.
The only thing is that I've heard is on his way out.
I don't know. Honestly, I don't know.
Okay. We will see. I mean, I'm really looking forward to this match.
Yeah. Oh, and we have another match. I just found this match. Allie and Su Yung against Kiera Hogan and Jordan Grace.
I know who's not going to win.
Yeah.
And watch yourself this match. No, do you know what? Again, I like one team. I need to go with my girl.
Allie and Su Yung?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be Allie and Su Yung that take that one. So. All right.
How fun is it to have someone in wrestling called Hogan again?
Well, I mean, at least it's not Brooke. I want to quickly, before we get into...
Didn't she wrestle for TNA for like 2 seconds? Brooke Hogan, by the way.
No, she never wrestled.
No? I seem to remember she was in the ring.
She had an authority figure role.
Oh, that's right. That's what she was doing.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, they had so much luck with their authority figures in TNA.
Mm-hmm.
So much luck.
I want to plug this real quick before we get into one more topic that I want to bring up.
We need to talk about the move.
Yeah, we will.
Mm-hmm.
There is a wrestling show that's going to be taking place in Silver Spring, Maryland, for those that live in the Maryland or near the DC area, on Friday, January the 25th, and it is a brand new promotion, Flying V Fights, and they are going to have their first show ever called Fight or Flight, and they got a really good roster of talent so far. They have DJ Z, who's going to be involved. I think he's in the main event. Kimberly, a.k.a. Abby Lath from the first Mae Young Classic. Willow Nightingale, the Ugly Ducklings, Logan Easton LaRue, Riot City's Most Wanted, Alexander James, Brittany Blake, Samantha Heights, Killian McMurphy, Isaiah Frazier, and a whole lot more. There are still tickets available for this. However, they're only general admission because all the front row seats have sold out for this show. So if you want to go to this event, go to fvwrestling.brownpapertickets.com. General admission tickets are $20, and you will be able to get them at will call. If you order them right now, you will be able to get them at will call the night of the show.
Right.
So check them out. I'm going to it. I think it's going to be a good show. I'm looking forward to it.
Okay, cool.
All right. Briefly, the move that Fro was talking about. Impact Wrestling. This, we talked about how All Elite could end up with TBS or TNT. Impact, starting next week, is going to be on a brand new channel called Pursuit. The Pursuit channel.
Mm-hmm.
And it'll air on Friday nights at 10 p.m. Would you like to know some of the other shows that they have on this network?
I can't wait to hear about this, because moving it from Pop, that I thought was a really, really, really small channel, to this.
An even smaller channel.
It's not good news.
No.
And the problem is the quality of Impact is really good. They deserve so much better than this. How unfair is this? They are finally good, and nobody has the ability to watch it. How sad is that? It is sad.
Well, apparently this channel is available to 45 million cable and satellite homes.
Yeah, but nobody knows of this network, Bill.
Nobody.
The hunting channel? Who the fuck cares?
Do you want to know what their slogan is?
Mm-hmm.
We deliver the outdoors.
Yeah, and there's nothing that says more outdoors than fucking Impact.
Oh, God. Okay, so here are the TV programs or shows that are on Pursuit Channel. We have such shows as Alaska's Fishing Paradise, American Air Gunner, Bird Dog Wars, Buckmen, Buttermilk Creek TV, Deer and Wildlife Stories with Keith Warren, whoever he is.
Mm-hmm. Remember him?
Mm-hmm, exactly. Diggin' with KG and Ringy.
Mm-hmm. Diggin'.
Final Descent. The Flyway Highway. Girls with Guns TV.
Mm-hmm.
Hit Squad Outdoors with Tim Sylvia. Huntsman Creed. Jimmy Houston Adventures. Again, whoever he is. King of 2 Miles. Martin Archery Outdoor Adventures. Mossy Oaks Gamekeepers. Outdoor Dream TV. Let's see. What else? Road Trip Masters. Scott Linden's Wing Shooting USA. Southern Hog Slayers. Team Crosshairs TV. Texas Boys Outdoors. The Natural Addiction. This is Africa. Where in the world is Colorado Buck? Oh, man.
Mm-hmm.
And Wipe 'em Out Outdoors. Some of the fine programming on Pursuit TV.
And the sad thing is that nobody will pursue Impact. See what I did there?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, man. You can't get any... I'm sorry, you just can't get any worse than that. You just can't. Alright, I just wanted to bring... or talk about this before we end. This coming week for WWE is a big week because this is going to be their first Raw of the new year. Well, first live Raw, I should say, of the new year. First live SmackDown coming up. We just had a very successful Wrestle Kingdom. All Elite Wrestling was announced this week. And remember, we talked about this on the last episode, how they had promised change to the product. And I had said that it probably wasn't going to start right away because the next 2 episodes were taped Raws.
Right.
Which got record low ratings, but in defense, it was a holiday for each one. So, you can't really blame the product or anything on that one. It was the holidays.
Mm-hmm.
This is a very big week for them because they have Raw and they're going opposite the national championship game of college football, which is going to be viewed by a lot of people. And then
in America, yes.
In America, yes. Then you have SmackDown Tuesday, and then you have that All Elite rally in the same town. If WWE wants people to take their new, the idea of change seriously, they got to hit it out of the park this week. Hands down.
Well, what is kind of strange is that even though I don't follow wrestling at the moment from WWE, I heard about the John Cena, Becky Lynch stuff, and that was covered by non-wrestling media.
Yeah.
Were you surprised?
Not really, because John Cena's a movie star. And Becky Lynch has become so popular now that it's really taken a life of its own. it's just my thing is, you promised change, and I, like I said, I knew those 2 weeks where it was taped, it wasn't going to happen because it was taped.
Mm-hmm.
You better deliver Monday night, and you better deliver Tuesday night, because if you don't, there are going to be some angry fans the rest of that week.
Mm-hmm.
They absolutely have to deliver. And then one thing that I like that they're doing on their programming is they've gotten rid of the guaranteed rematches for like ex-champions.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if you lose a title, you're not guaranteed a rematch anymore. So I like that. That's a step
do you
in the right
feel like that was made because of the Brock Lesnar stuff that we have talked about? Well, before we started recording, we know of rumors that he is not going to be at WrestleMania.
Right. But will he have the Universal title? That's the question. I don't think he will. I really don't.
No.
Because,
I mean, it would make no sense according to the Royal Rumble.
Right.
I understand that you can always challenge for other title, but then it will be like, oh, a SmackDown guy is winning.
Right.
Then we know someone from SmackDown is winning.
And maybe they want a challenge for the Universal title.
Mm-hmm.
Because here's how I see it. If it ends up where Brock is not at WrestleMania and he's the Universal Champion, you might as well just retire that title.
Mm-hmm.
Just retire the title. Plain and simple.
Totally agree.
But this is a big week for WWE, and I don't think a lot of people realize how big of a week this is coming up. They have got to hit it out. They've got to get it right. Because if they don't, next week, people are going to be like, oh, WWE blew it. WWE sucks. Blah, 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 blah. We're going to get that reaction. Over and over. So. We'll just have to wait and see what happens. All right. Well, I think that's going to do it for this week, actually.
Mm-hmm.
So why don't we start doing our plugs? You can follow the show on Twitter at Wrestling Show 11, as we covered Wrestle Kingdom today, so you can follow us there. Join our Facebook group. It is That Wrestling Show Fan Group. Type that in the search bar on Facebook and add yourself, and you are in. Check out the website, thatwrestlingshow.com, and visit the Patreon page, patreon.com/Bill's World of Podcasts.
And guess what, people? I'm back on Facebook!
Yay!
Yay!
But don't tag him.
Now you can.
Oh, well, excuse me.
Oh.
Now
I'm officially back now.
Okay. Officially. All right.
Officially.
So, Fro, what did you talk about on Another Digital Citizen this week?
Absolutely nothing, no. That would be fun.
That would be
funny. A podcast about absolutely nothing. We talked about a movie that was really good. No, we talked about the Nigerian Christian propaganda movie called Vultures of Horror.
And apparently there is such a thing as Nollywood. That is what I have learned.
Yep, from Nollywood. Nigerian Christian propaganda movie.
Yep.
With skeletons and magic and... yeah. It sure was a movie.
I'll make sure not to see it.
Oh, You should. It's really good.
Question mark?
Question mark? No, it's a horrible, horrible movie. Nobody should watch that. I tortured Luke with it. That's enough.
This weekend is a new episode of Eliminated, a Royal Rumble podcast. As this weekend, Jim and we are going to discuss the 2000 Royal Rumble match. Next week, we got a big show. We got a really big show. Because it is the 4th annual That Wrestling Award Show.
And you know what? I have ordered my tuxedo. I have everything ready. I can't wait for this.
Oh, yeah. I got mine coming. It's going to be really good.
And we have so many guests planned. We can't tell you all the celebrities that's coming.
We really can't.
Oh, so many celebrities. Did you hear that we didn't even ask George Clooney because we were just so booked. We couldn't even ask George, even though George asked us over and over and over again to come on the show. We had to say, no, George Clooney, we can't have you on. We have too many celebrities already.
And we can't fit your espresso machine into our studio.
I have a funny story about that. So George Clooney, some years ago, made a Norwegian commercial. Did you know that?
No, I didn't.
He was paid like enormous sums, and nobody knows how much he was paid to be in one commercial. And ironic enough, it was for coffee. Yeah. And now he's not known as the Nespresso Man. Isn't that what the company is called again? Isn't it?
I think so, yeah.
I think so, yeah. But yeah, we had to turn down George Clooney. So next week, jeez, woo! Oh, so many people.
Yeah.
Elmo is coming. I can promise you that.
Right.
Elmo! Hello! Hello, everybody!
We wanted Grover, but he was cursing recently, so we can't, also next week we're going to review Homecoming. We'll get Meltzer's ratings from today's Wrestle Kingdom, and we're going to preview NXT UK's special event that's coming up next Saturday as well. So everybody,
I have still not watched a single episode of that show.
I saw the first episode. It's good. I might have to catch up on the current product. So everybody have a good weekend. Settle down from going back to work and the end of your holiday, and come back here next week for the 4th annual That Wrestling Award Show. And you guys have been listening to That Wrestling Show, the only podcast where all pro wrestling matters. And as always,
hamburgers are good.
They are. They really are. Wrestle on, folks.
Wrestle on.